Let me tell you something about physical connection that most men have completely backwards. With a mature woman, the touches that create the deepest emotional bonds are almost never the dramatic ones. They are the quiet ones, the ones that last 2 seconds, the ones that happen in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday that she will still be thinking about on Friday, because a mature woman has lived enough life to know the difference between touch that is about her and touch that is about the person doing the touching. She can feel that difference in her nervous system before her mind has processed a single word about it. The 7 touches we're covering today are about her. And that distinction changes everything. Here's something worth being honest about. A lot of men genuinely want to create deep physical and emotional connection with the mature women in their lives, but they operate on assumptions about what women want that were formed years ago and never updated. They reach for the obvious when the profound is sitting quietly right next to it. The result is physical connection that feels pleasant, but not meaningful. Contact that is technically present, but emotionally thin. And for a mature woman who has learned to tell the difference, that thinness is felt immediately, even when she doesn't have words for it. Today we are talking about the specific subtle touches that communicate something different, something real, something she will carry with her long after the moment has passed. There is a specific quality to a hand placed gently on the upper back, between the shoulder blades, that communicates something no other touch quite replicates. It says, I am here. I am with you. I am not directing you or claiming you. I am simply present beside you. For a mature woman who has often experienced touch as something that came with expectation attached, this particular contact carries a quality of freedom within closeness that her nervous system responds to deeply. It is warm without being demanding, present without being possessive. Use it naturally. When you're navigating a space together, when you're standing beside her in a group, when you want to communicate presence without words. Let it be brief and genuine. That touch, offered without agenda, creates a felt sense of being accompanied that goes straight to the emotional core of connection. There is an enormous difference between a handhold that happens automatically and one that happens deliberately. And a mature woman feels that difference immediately. When you reach for her hand in a moment that has no practical reason for it, not crossing a street, not navigating a crowd, but simply because you wanted to be connected to her in that moment, you communicate something that habitual touch never does. I chose this, right now, because of you. The deliberateness is everything. Let her feel that you reached for her hand because you wanted to, not because it's what you do. Being chosen in small, unrequested moments is one of the most quietly powerful emotional experiences available in relationship. This touch requires vulnerability from you, and that vulnerability is precisely what gives it its power. When something genuinely moving passes between you, a moment of real laughter, a tender exchange, a second of pure mutual presence, and you respond by gently holding her face in both hands and meeting her eyes, you are doing something that almost nobody does anymore. You are marking the moment. You are saying, with your hands and your attention, this, right here, this matters to me. For a mature woman who has learned to notice when moments get rushed past, being with someone who stops to hold a moment feels extraordinary. It tells her that what happens between you is worth pausing for. Gently brushing her hair back from her face or resting your fingers briefly at her temple during a quiet moment, these gestures communicate a specific quality of tenderness that deeper, more intense touch cannot replicate. They are gentle in a way that has no agenda attached. They require closeness without demanding anything. They say, I find you beautiful in this ordinary moment. I am not performing that. I am simply moved by it. Mature women are deeply attuned to genuine tenderness versus performed tenderness. The genuine kind, offered in an unguarded moment without calculation, creates an emotional warmth that she will return to in her memory again and again. Here is a touch that most men make too quickly and too casually to register its full potential. When she is talking about something that matters to her, something she has invested real feeling in sharing, and you place your hand on her shoulder slowly and consciously while maintaining full eye contact, you communicate something profound. I am not just hearing your words. I am receiving what is underneath them. The slowness is essential. It signals that the touch is intentional, that you placed your hand there because the moment called for it, not out of habit or distraction. Physical contact offered in response to emotional sharing creates a neurological bridge between the two. Her body begins to associate your touch with the feeling of being genuinely understood. We have talked in other conversations about the neuroscience of hug duration, but here we are talking about it specifically in the context of what it communicates to a mature woman. A mature woman has received countless hugs that ended before they landed. That pulled away while her nervous system was still deciding whether to trust the contact. She has learned not to expect more. When you hold the hug 5 seconds longer than she anticipated, warmly, without tension, without an agenda for what comes next, you give her nervous system time to actually receive the contact, time to register safety, time to exhale. That extra 5 seconds is not a small thing to her body. It is the difference between being embraced and being held. This is the most powerful touch on this entire list, and the simplest. It is the hand rested on hers while you're both sitting in comfortable silence, the fingers briefly intertwined while watching something together, the light touch on her forearm in the middle of an ordinary conversation that has no particular significance except that you wanted to be briefly, warmly connected to her right then. Touch that asks for nothing, that has no destination, no escalation, no transaction attached, communicates something that all goal-oriented touch misses entirely. I don't need this to become something else. Being near you in this ordinary moment is already enough. For a mature woman who has often experienced physical contact as a precursor to expectation, touch that is complete in itself is both rare and deeply moving. Here is the thread that runs through all 7 of these touches. None of them are about what you want from her. All of them are about what you want for her. The experience of being genuinely, specifically, warmly present with someone who finds her worth touching in careful, conscious, tender ways. That is what creates deep connection in a mature woman. Not intensity, not grand gestures. Consistent, conscious, genuine physical presence offered without agenda. In the small moments that most people rush past. Start with one, the deliberate handhold, the held hug. The face held gently in a real moment, and let it come from somewhere true in you, rather than from strategy. She will feel the difference. She always does. If today gave you something real to work with, subscribe. Every week we go this deep into the psychology of connection, touch, and what mature love actually feels like when it's done right. I'll see you in the next one. Touch with intention. It changes everything.